Okay, let's turn off my ringer. Okay, so the assignment advice as you're going in, just again, not giving away any answers. I'm just trying to help you out with a little bit of a framework as you go into them. Lots of vocab to look over, and I put them on the slide. For the conversation starters, they're pretty clear. There's a few new signs that haven't been introduced yet. I can't answer why they do that. It doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. So nutrition, it's going to make a little, it's an N on either side, nutrition. So it's food, like restaurant nutrition. Okay. Fat, F-A-T, spell it. I should put a little asterisk right there. Boom. There are other ways of signing it, but that's usually the most consistent. And cholesterol, you're noticing that a lot of times in a context, we'll use these sort of, I'll call them a placeholder, where you just wave the first letter, and that oftentimes will stand for what you're talking about. So cholesterol. I've also included with the vocab up above 2 rather in-depth videos going over a bunch of different vocab. So I would refer to those. Those would be worth looking over before even doing these, just to pick up some. And in 1.4, the new sign that they've introduced is strange or odd. And it's just a C, and you just wave it past your face. It's strange, it's odd, stranger. Oh, no, I need to do this. Okay. So then for the 2 worksheets, there's only one conversation starter page. So the worksheets for 1 and 2, all I've done is I've grouped all the vocab to review, and then you can they will mix and match them depending. So I just want to make sure that you can sign all these and will recognize them. 1/8, and you'll also see they do 1/8. It's a little harder to see this way. I found in most conversations people tend to do it forward. 1/8. And remember, you're doing the imaginary line, right? 1/8. Go through all of those. Make sure you can do up to 4, I think is the highest, 3/4. Measurements. And again, oftentimes we will use these not necessarily as just a measurement, but it's also the action of putting them in, right? So handfuls, you add a handful. It's not you take a handful and then add it, right? Then I grouped all the fruits and spreads. These are all the ones that appear throughout. So just review them. And if there are ones in your, like truffles, I should probably put a little asterisks by them. And actually, well, raspberries does have a sign. Any of these you can fingerspell, but those are the ones that specifically had. And remember, berry. Forgot to type that. Remember, berry has it can also be fingerspelled. And then flavored, even non-flavored, like, or no. I think no taste, none. Unflavored. And then various fruit flavors. Go back to the fruits in the previous column. Different kinds of milks. And I want to point out cream. When they mention whipping cream or heavy cream, there's a notation and a grade they will give, a response they will give you by marking something wrong. It's a regional thing, and I've got to grade it by hand. This is the old sign for cream. Remember, 2 movements generally means a noun, so we would talk about the cream. If you do it once, it means to gather the cream. And they're saying that this is no longer acceptable. It's technically wrong. And they'll say older deaf people still will sign it. Well, or many deaf people will still sign it. Yeah, an older generation still signs it. So it's still an acceptable sign. I don't know where they get off saying that it's technically incorrect. Okay, sure. So technically restaurant has to be that? No. It's a regional thing. It's a generational thing. So cream. If you mean cream, do it twice, because then it's a noun. If you mean to gather, like sometimes you'll take the oil or the bubbles, the scum off of when you're boiling something, right? Like if you're reducing, I don't know, meats or something like that, or a broth. Sometimes you'll take off the stuff that floats to the top and get rid of that. So you gather it. So if you do it twice, it is an older sign for cream. Um, in general, I would say fingerspell it, just because that's what the book says. And anytime it pops up, it's like with teachers, give them what they want. And even though there's more stuff that you have learned, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. And again, compare these to the what's the sign. Morsels and ingredients: buttermilk, buttercream, butterscotch, butter. Sensing a theme in that one question. They will put things in to try to confuse you, similar things. So be careful to watch what the second part of the word or the sign is. There's a section where there's confusing numbers: 2, 3, and how do they incorporate those? Is it 2/3? Is it 2 1/3? You'll notice some people will do it backwards, some people will do it forwards. Just be aware for both. Amounts: how many packages, boxes. Let me add that there. Ounces, spoons, spoonfuls, teaspoon, blah blah blah. So a lot. Most of what you want to work on in this is practicing. Can you do it yourself, and then can you recognize it in someone else? So mixing and matching these, like 3 packages or boxes of semi-sweet chocolate chips, or 2 handfuls of peanuts. Right. If you can do it yourself, it'll be easier to recognize it in a video. So don't be passive, really be active. And then mixing and matching numbers and times. Since we're doing recipes, you're going to see 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 13 minutes, 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. So, or, put it in your refrigerator for 2 hours. So start to mix and match those things on your own. Because at the beginning, it can be really hard to put those two concepts together. So the more you do it, the easier that will become. And that's the worksheets. Now I'm going to do, so that's everything for 7.5. Then everything starts to be the comprehension quiz, the units 7.1 to 7.5. I'm going to do those as a separate video. I may even do a couple of videos, for each, like one for each one or something like that, depending on how long they end up being. That way I can post them up as soon as I get them done and not have to wait till I have them all done. So I'll do the comprehension quiz, the SOAR, the POA, and then the story comprehension and the comprehension test. So I'll go through all those. But this is good for a start for the assignments for 7.5.